they cleared us. And in the end, they did clear us. I don't think that the last-minute revelation cost her the election. However, your question, did the emails overall hurt her? Yes. I mean, that was one of the biggest issues, one of the biggest negatives.
Right, but I'm saying, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, the emails didn't matter.
Should it have mattered?
Right.
Okay. This is just food to chew on. Think about this. If President Obama had not, in his, what I'm sure he thought was really a wise move, and generally it proves out to be, 8 years ago, Lincoln, team of rivals, if President Obama had not thought, Hillary Clinton, my chief rival in the primary, if he hadn't thought about her as Secretary of State and chose somebody else, she never would have had the email scandal, and she never would have had the Benghazi scandal. Those were, if you ask anybody,
you think she would have had a better chance not having the Secretary of State experience?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Okay.
Wow.
And that could be another question you guys could answer for us. What do you think about that? I mean, if she hadn't been, that used to be the way you were almost automatically elected president in this country, right? You got made Secretary of State, and then you became president. Looked like at a James Monroe, for example, and like a John Quincy Adams and several others down the line. Serve time in government positions, especially Secretary of State. Countdown's on for Obama, so hopefully we're 2 minutes away.
It's so crazy to think about, though, emails and how it all affected everything, and I'm sure she's replaying in her mind over and over every email she sent, and choosing to have, all these things.
Yes.
It must be such a hard position to be in.
Yeah.
Especially having been someone who's been in the public spotlight, been in public service for so long.
Right.
I wonder if it's a tough pill to swallow, seeing someone who hasn't done any sort of public service become the president of the United States. It'd be one thing if she was losing to Jeb Bush,
yes,
or Marco Rubio,
yes,
or some of the other people we thought might become the GOP nominee.
Yeah, that's a great
point.
And
I'm just wondering what that feels like.
And so let me ask you this, and again, you guys can tweet to us on this as well. Is this the beginning of a whole new era in American politics, or is this what they call an outlier?
Kanye 2020.
Well, we're laughing about it.
It was trending nationwide last night.
But can I just tell you, one of the names I've seen multiple times on social media today for who the Democrats should look to in 2020?
Mark Cuban?
Mark Cuban.
I guessed correctly, and I didn't even see the tweets.
Billionaire, reality television star, interested in politics.
Right. And
wow. I mean, think about that as a 2020 showdown.
Well, remember, Mark Cuban did say he was open to being a vice presidential pick. I'm wondering if things would have been different had Hillary Clinton picked Mark Cuban as the VP. She was asked about Mark Cuban. I believe it was on Meet the Press months ago, and she never said it wasn't an option.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to play. Here comes the president now, and
Joe Biden,
accompanied by the vice president.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yesterday, before votes were tallied, I shot a video that some of you may have seen in which I said to the American people, regardless of which side you were on in the election, regardless of whether your candidate won or lost, the sun would come up in the morning. And that is one bit of prognosticating that actually came true. The sun is up. And I know everybody had a long night. I did as well. I had a chance to talk to President-elect Trump last night, about 3:30 in the morning, I think it was, to congratulate him on winning the election. And I had a chance to invite him to come to the White House tomorrow to talk about making sure that there is a successful transition between our presidencies. Now, it is no secret that the President-elect and I have some pretty significant differences. But remember, 8 years ago, President Bush and I had some pretty significant differences. But President Bush's team could not have been more professional or more gracious in making sure we had a smooth transition so that we could hit the ground running. And one thing you realize quickly in this job is that the presidency and the vice presidency is bigger than any of us. So I have instructed my team to follow the example that President Bush's team set 8 years ago and work as hard as we can to make sure that this is a successful transition for the president-elect. Because We are now all rooting for his success in uniting and leading the country. The peaceful transition of power is one of the hallmarks of our democracy. And over the next few months, we are going to show that to the world. I also had a chance last night to speak with Secretary Clinton, and I just had a chance to hear her remarks. I could not be prouder of her. She has lived an extraordinary life of public service. She was a great First Lady. She was an outstanding senator for the state of New York, and she could not have been a better Secretary of State. I'm proud of her. A lot of Americans look up to her. Her candidacy and nomination was historic and sends a message to our daughters all across the country that they can achieve at the highest levels of politics. And I'm absolutely confident that she and President Clinton will continue to do great work for people here in the United States and all around the world. Now, everybody is sad when their side loses an election. But the day after, we have to remember that we're actually all on one team. This is an intramural scrimmage. We're not Democrats first. We're not Republicans first. We are Americans first. We're patriots first. We all want what's best for this country. That's what I heard in Mr. Trump's remarks last night. That's what I heard when I spoke to him directly, and I was heartened by that. That's what the country needs. A sense of unity, a sense of inclusion, a respect for our institutions, our way of life, rule of law, and a respect for each other. I hope that he maintains that spirit throughout this transition, and I certainly hope that's how his presidency has a chance to begin. I also told my team today to keep their heads up, because the remarkable work that they have done day in, day out, often without a lot of fanfare, often with a lot of attention, work in agencies, work in obscure areas of policy that make government run better and make it more responsive and make it more efficient and make it more service-friendly so that it's actually helping more people. That remarkable work has left the next president with a stronger, better country than the one that existed 8 years ago. So win or lose in this election, that was always our mission. That was our mission from day one. And everyone on my team should be extraordinarily proud of everything that they have done. And so should all the Americans that I've had a chance to meet all across this country, who do the hard work of building on that progress every single day. Teachers in schools, doctors in an ER clinic, small businesses putting their all into starting something up, making sure they're treating their employees well. All the important work that's done by moms and dads and families and congregations in every state, the work of perfecting this union. So this was a long and hard-fought campaign. A lot of our fellow Americans are exultant today. A lot of Americans are less so. But that's the nature of campaigns. That's the nature of democracy. It is hard and sometimes contentious and noisy. It's not always inspiring. But to the young people who got into politics for the first time and may be disappointed by the results, I just want you to know you have to stay encouraged. Don't get cynical. Don't ever think you can't make a difference. As Secretary Clinton said this morning, fighting for what is right is worth it. Sometimes you lose an argument. Sometimes you lose an election. You know, the path that this country has taken has never been a straight line. We zig and zag, and sometimes we move in ways that some people think is forward and others think is moving back. And that's okay. I've lost elections before. Joe hasn't, but, you know. So I've been sort of sharing.
Remember, you beat me badly.
That's the way politics works sometimes. We try really hard to persuade people that we're right. And then people vote. And then if we lose, we learn from our mistakes, we do some reflection, we lick our wounds, we brush ourselves off, we get back in the arena. We go at it. We try even harder the next time. The point, though, is that we all go forward with a presumption of good faith in our fellow citizens. Because that presumption of good faith is essential to a vibrant and functioning democracy. That's how this country has moved forward for 240 years. That's how we've pushed boundaries and promoted freedom around the world. That's how we've expanded the rights of our founding to reach all of our citizens. It's how we have come this far. And that's why I'm confident that this incredible journey that we're on as Americans will go on. And I'm looking forward to doing everything that I can to make sure that the next president is successful in that. I've said before, I think of this job as being a relay runner. You take the baton, you run your best race, and hopefully by the time you hand it off, you're a little further ahead. You've made a little progress. And I can say that we've done that, and I want to make sure that handoff is well executed because ultimately we're all on the same team. All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, Ron, when speaking very diplomatically, I really think all three of them, President Obama, President-elect Trump, Hillary Clinton, trying to stay on message about bringing the country together, staying united, and the importance of that.
Yes.
And to keep fighting the fight if you were on Team Clinton.
Yeah. And speaking as a president should speak, talking about the election is over. Let's remember we're all on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, lately I've been reading a lot about the Civil War. And so we joke about Cal exit. You know, will California
Right.
secede from the Union, or those kind of things? We never want to go down any kind of road like that again. And all I can say is